Hello! We're back. Sorry about last week. The air quality was very bad. But we're back with Reincarnation. Welcome back. Last time we began Reincarnation, Giselle and Michelle have found each other, they're living together. Someone moved in. They know Maria, who knows Yukimasa. They're friends for some reason. And we've been following Nellie, and her crush on this mysterious boy Mel, who has unfortunately, yet again, turned out to be her brother. By blood. Their parents are getting remarried. It's a whole thing. There's a lot of drama. There are official voices for this particular part of the game. I'm not going to be using them. I encourage you to purchase the game and listen to them for yourself. Support this game, please. The creators are so talented. Please. Please. Ooh. Anyway, let's just get into this, eh, Nellie?
Deep breaths. Take a deep breath, Nellie. Act normal. Act like everything's okay. You're her family now. You're his sister, Nellie. His sister. If only it were that easy. I wouldn't have to keep telling myself. Why did it have to be like this? I've watched him through the classroom window every day. And now... I had been blue all week long. 7 chaotic days was all it took for my mom and Mel's dad to finalize their remarriage. I didn't raise any objections. Yigiari! So everything rushed along unhindered. They filed all the paperwork, and now we were officially a family, though it didn't feel like it one bit.
At least they didn't do a full wedding.
Officially a family again, I guess. It was decided that we would all be living together in my mom's house moving forward. And now I was standing outside waiting for Mel to arrive. Obviously, I was nervous about suddenly having 2 new people living in the house. But we had spare rooms, and it was Mel's dad who owned the house, so I had no place to complain. Supposedly, the reason my mum got the house instead of him was because I had just been born, and he wanted to make sure I could be raised comfortably. Mel's dad said he tried again and again over the years to convince Mom to let him see me, but every time she always sent him away. Because of that, a week ago was the first time I'd ever met Mel's dad, so I was having trouble bringing myself to call him my dad, even if we were blood related. I felt kind of bad about it too, because he really did seem happy to see me, so I decided I would at least try to do it when I was talking to him. Plus, how Mom was treating him seemed really unfair, completely cutting him out of our lives, then bringing him back again out of the blue. The way he bent over backwards to do whatever we needed sure made it seem like he was trying to make up for something, so maybe he was at fault for the divorce. But that didn't mean Mum was innocent. Anyway, I didn't know what happened back then, and I wasn't interested in finding out either. I was socially adept enough to know that you shouldn't try to dig up dirt on people right as they were celebrating having put it in the past. I wasn't that stupid. Though for the most part, I was just indifferent to it all. I love relationship drama, but only between kids my age or celebrities.
So true, Nellie.
That was fun to talk about, but how was I supposed to react to my own parents' relationship drama?
Do you remember when we were playing the first game and I was like, I want a door about the parents in door 1? I still say, I want the door about them. Give it. I know it's juicy.
And not just everyday drama. All the nasty stuff that led to them getting divorced. I couldn't think of anything worse. Anyway, getting off track. So Mum and Mel's dad suggested we go on a family vacation to celebrate us all getting back together. And that I was absolutely 100% against, so... Oh, I wonder if that's his car. Well, you can't wallow in your sorrows forever, Nellie. Mel's going to be here any minute, and you need to greet him with a smile. It's going to take time to get over him being my brother, but still being able to live with Mel is like a dream come true. Which is both amazing and super depressing at the same time. But for now, I just need to make myself look on the bright side. As the car got closer, I could see it was a moving company's van. It parked in front of our house, and the passenger's door swung open.
Oh, Nellie, you waited outside for me? You didn't have to. I would have just rung the doorbell.
Come on, you could at least You could try acting a little more excited that I've been out here eagerly awaiting your arrival.
Sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it.
If we were closer, maybe I could have pounced on him, given him a big hug and said, "Oh, what took you so long, dearest Mel?" Wait, huh? Where did the dearest come from? Maybe it's because I've thought of him as my prince for so long. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'll help you bring in your boxes. You get all the heavy stuff, though.
Thanks. The movers are going to bring everything to my room, so if you could unpack stuff with me, that would be a huge help.
All right, I'm an unpacking pro.
Except unpacking my trauma. Hello and welcome to Fata Morgana.
I'd never moved in my life, so it was kind of mesmerizing watching the moving men all carry all Mel's boxes in. It sure didn't seem like he had all that much stuff, though. Was it normal to only need a handful of boxes when moving, or was Mel just super good at packing?
He's a boy, that's why. That should do it for now, I think. Thanks, Nelly. You're a huge help.
Oh, no problem. It was barely any work at all. Is this really all your stuff? It feels like there should be more.
Yep, I don't buy much unless I need it, but it means less to pack and unpack, so it works out all right.
So that really was everything, huh? It's like he only has what he needs to get by. A few versatile outfits, his school books. It's not quite what I expected. Maybe he just likes to keep things simple. Do you have any, hobbies or favorite pastimes or anything, Mel?
I guess I can't really say I do. I enjoy reading, but I wouldn't say I'm really into it.
That's a surprise. The boys at school are all obsessed with something. Sports or games or whatever. You're really easygoing, huh, Mel?
It's not that I'm really easygoing, it's more that well, never mind. What about you, Nelly?
Me? Oh, I love music. I sing a lot myself, and I'm going to see my favorite artist. I like going to see my favorite artist live. Oh, and I'm interested in opera too.
Wow, opera? That's rather sophisticated for 14.
My mum is a big fan, and she took me a bunch when I was little, and recently I've come to appreciate it more, I suppose.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Am I imagining it, or does he not sound very impressed? He stopped himself from saying something earlier, too.
Oh, so, what do you want to do today?
Right, I almost forgot! Mel had moved in without his father today, because he and Mum were on vacation together. It was originally planned to be a family trip, as mentioned earlier, but I was having trouble enough coming to terms with things as is. So I said I didn't want to go, and when I wouldn't budge, they decided they would just cancel the trip instead. Which also made me feel bad, because there I was again, going around and ruining their plans because I was a self-centered brat. At which point, Mel threw me a lifeline.
I know. You two can go by yourself. I'm sure you have plenty to catch up on. Think of it as a second honeymoon. I was just in Paris myself, and I'm behind on my homework because of that, so I'm not really feeling up second trip so soon either. But you already planned it and took off work and everything, so there's no point in letting it go to waste. You should go, even if it's just the two of you. This way no one has to worry about stepping on each other's toes.
Thank you so much for talking Mum and Dad out of bringing us. They've got their heads so far up in the clouds and not even considering how anyone else might feel.
Your mom was getting a bit overly excited about the trip, yeah. The second-hand embarrassment when she started jumping around like a little girl was pretty painful. Actually, I guess she's my mom now too, huh? It's going to take a while to get used to that.
Oh, that's a relief. Mel's having trouble adjusting too. I thought it was just me dragging my feet behind everyone else.
Either way, I didn't do it just for you. I didn't want to be stuck between those two lovebirds either. I would much rather relax here at home.
Exactly! No one wants to deal with that. So I know it's a little early, but what do you say we do lunch? All that unpacking has worked me up an appetite.
Oh yeah, sounds great. What kind of lunch are you thinking? Are you planning to make...
I'm gonna order pizza, duh! Every time I ask, Mum's like, I'm not letting you eat that filth. Absolutely not. But it's not like all the fried food she makes is any better. In fact, pizza is healthy compared to that.
I feel like an idiot for getting my hopes up for a home-cooked meal from a younger girl. Out of curiosity, can you cook, Nelly?
Never tried.
Not even in home ec?
That doesn't count. I burned everything I touched anyway.
That's impressive in its own way.
Oh, but I bake sometimes. I know, I'll bake you a bunch of treats. Tomorrow I'll make cookies, and the next day chocolate cake, and custard the next. I can eat sweets all day long.
Oh my god, speaking of sweets, I did not know this, but Yorkshire pudding... Okay, first of all, pudding in England is not like a pudding, like pudding. It's like it's a dough product, like a baked good. And Yorkshire pudding is not a sweet. It is a savory that you eat with like gravy. I didn't know that until yesterday. My friend told me and I was like, the what? My whole life's a lie. And now the figgy pudding part of the Christmas Carol makes more sense. Because it's like figs in a baked good. My life's been a lie up until yesterday. That's definitely not good for you, Nelly. Looks like I'm handling all the cooking.
Ooh, it's already here! Pizza delivery is super fast, huh?
I'll get it. Let's see, the money was in this drawer, right? Can you set the table, Nelly?
I'm on it. La la la. I think I'll put out the nice tablecloth for when we have guests. Wow, this is amazing! I've never seen a pizza this big before. And it even came with a soda. It's like I'm in an American TV show.
It's nothing that dramatic. But I will say, Nelly, I assumed you were more of an elegant afternoon tea type girl.
I love my tea time too, but it gets tiring being prim and proper all the time, you know? And with Mum not around, I can laze about all I want.
Like sprawling out on the sofa, munching on potato chips and binge-watching TV.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm making today a TV day. No homework, no choice, nothing but TV.
Oh, Nelly, let's not go too overboard. Though it is always nice to just have a day to kick back and relax.
Yeah, exactly. No boring stuff allowed on your first day here. This is going to be so much fun.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Nelly, but you should eat. We ordered fresh hot pizza and it's going to get cold. Listen, Mel, don't knock cold pizza or I'll knock you into next year.
All right, let's dig in then.
You're not supposed to scarf down the whole slice in one go.
We continue chatting about whatever came to mind over the freshly delivered pizza. I assume this is Nelly. An endless stream of laughter made even the run-of-the-mill pizza taste better than a proper home-cooked meal. Better than a meal at a high-class restaurant, even. My phone buzzed. It seems like Mum and Mel's dad were having lunch now, too. She wanted to know if we were eating properly, if anything had happened, if we were doing all right. She said she felt bad about leaving us behind. Could she be any more melodramatic? I was 14. I could handle not having my mum around for a few days. Gosh, what a worrywart. I really wanted to reply saying we're having lunch now and it's much more fun than your dumb vacation would have been, but I decided Mum probably wouldn't take it very well. So I went with the simple doing perfectly fine. Enjoy your trip. As much as I had mixed feelings about what Mum had done, I certainly didn't wish ill on her or her vacation. Not to mention, I could probably push for her to bring me back some real nice souvenirs. Anyway, I wouldn't have had nearly as good a time staying at home if Mel wasn't here with me. Just being with him felt like it could make anything fun. I was anxious about being alone with him at first, but now I was just giddy about all the possibilities. We could watch TV together. We could try our hands at cooking together. Maybe I could even have him help me with my homework. Mum and Mel's dad were planning to be gone for a week, but as far as I was concerned, they could stay away for a whole month. Then again, it wasn't like Mel would be leaving. We would have plenty of time to spend together even after this. And maybe after enough time, my love would turn into proper familial love. No maybes, I had to make a change. I enjoyed being with him so much, I was sure I'd be able to make it work. I had nothing to worry about. Yeah, everything was going to be just fine.
Oh, Nelly, I'll take care of your glass for you.
Oh!
Hmm?
His finger brushed against mine. What were you just saying, Nelly? That would be easy to get over him. Well, you couldn't be more wrong.
She's trying, though.
Just as I said we would, we spent the day lazing about watching TV. For supper, we had leftover pizza. Before I knew it, the sun had set and it was almost time for bed. As lazy as I had been, though, I wasn't about to skip my shower. Mel offered to let me go first, which I did appreciate, but I also wished he would put himself first sometimes. He was family now, after all. So I made him take the first shower, and now... Crap, now that I think about it, he's in the shower, which means he's... No, Nelly, stop right there, get your mind out of the gutter! But wait, once he gets more comfortable living here, what if he loosens up and starts walking around with a shirt or something? You see it on TV all the time, a girl's brother wandering around half naked, her yelling at him to put some clothes on already. It's so true.
Especially older brothers. Walking around like they own the fucking place.
Surely it won't go that far our first night together, but a pair of loose pajamas are still a very real possibility.
Hey, Nelly, I'm out of the shower if you want to use it.
Okay, yeah, I will. What kind of pajamas is he wearing?
Hell yeah. What's the matter?
What? That's hideous. Is that the same shirt you wore to bed when you were 5?
Oh, you don't like it? It's from that cartoon I told you about. Catwallop. I think it's really cute.
Your regular clothes look really nice, so how come your pajamas look like something you fished out of a thrift store's dumpster?
The pajamas, they just need to be comfortable. You're acting like I'm wearing a barrel and suspenders.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Just never wear that shirt in public, unless you're trying to kill my prince.
That's a bit dramatic. What do you mean, kill your prince?
Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna go take that shower now. I wasn't thinking and changing to my usual nightgown, but now I'm starting to wonder if it's maybe too risque. There weren't any boys here before, and I wanted to feel a little more grown up, which is why I went for this one, but...
Cutie patootie.
Blood related or not, I think this crosses the line. He is still a guy, and we were separated at birth after all. But girls on American TV read things even bolder than this, so maybe it's...
Oh, you're already done, Nelly? That's a surprise. I thought girls all took really long showers. No.
Mel?
Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. I was just going to get some water before bed and saw you there.
Oh, were you? So,
Well, it's getting late, so I'm heading to bed. We'll have to get back to that show some other time. Good night, Nelly.
Right. Night. Not a word about the nightgown. Hold on, before you go. What do you think about my gown?
Huh? It's a very pretty dress. Are you sure you're not cold, though? Anyway, good night.
It's not a dress, it's a nightgown. He's acting like he doesn't even realize there's a girl sleeping under the same roof as him. I guess maybe I am nothing more than a sister to him. And that's how it should be, Nelly. The only other option leads to... is misery for everyone.
Hello, Mel. I like your room. I think about this room a lot. I want it. It's suddenly a much nicer room than I used to have. But is it really worth it? Although it's not like I'll have to put up with playing family for long. I graduate in a year and then I'm out of here. But I didn't anticipate whether it was Nelly fawning over me this much. Of course, she only likes the Mel she can see on the surface. Oh, Mel.
Tell me something, Mel. Who's the girl you cared most about? I presume you've been here long enough that you remember the era of roses? Do you remember what you said to your dear sister? You called her disgusting. You pushed her away. You were a terrible brother and person. I can't stop laughing when someone like you starts going on about how much you care, how important this or that person is to you. Empty, superficial, meaningless words. I love it. Dearest Mel, I always knew how I would react if you fell in love. I would cry my eyes out. I would envy her to death. I would get angry as a bull. But eventually I would have given up. I knew I could never have it my way after all. That my feelings would never bear fruit. So why did she have to be your sister?
What's that dream? It felt so strangely real. There was a girl going on and on about how much she despised me, and another one crying like she was in pain. I don't know anything about either of them, but for whatever reason, even that ignorance feels irredeemable. And the second girl, she sounded like Nellie. It was just a dream. Don't think too hard about it. We've been apart our whole lives anyway, and she definitely doesn't call me dearest. Or maybe the dream's my mind telling me I care for her more than I realize. I do enjoy spending time with her, and I'm glad to have her as my sister, but... Anyway, it's just a dream. Back to sleep. But you know, there is something oddly sentimental about sleepless nights like this.
Nell, get up. Wake up, it's morning. Wakey, wakey! It's morning!
Is it an earthquake? Wait, Nellie? You can wake me up without blowing my eardrums out, you know.
Is that so? Because you certainly seem to sleep just fine through anything quieter. And I thought you would be an early riser.
I didn't sleep in that long, did I? Wait, you can't just come into my room uninvited.
Oh, what's the big deal? It's fine, we're brother and sister. Now get up and drag your sleepy bum downstairs already, okay? I made breakfast for us. You're going to love it.
Feels like a hurricane just blew through my room. I ended up not getting much sleep last night because of that dream, which was strange since normally I didn't have any trouble sleeping, even in unfamiliar environments. But anyway, I needed to get changed and head down to the living room quickly. If I dawdled for too long, Hurricane Nellie might decide to come back around for a second visit. I'd been planning to make breakfast for the both of us, so I wasn't sure how to feel about her having beat me to the punch. It would be fine, right? Oh, Mel, you're such a problem. Wow, I'm not sure I'd call this breakfast. It looks more like diabetes on a plate. It was anything but fine. I'd stumbled into the living room still half asleep, but when I saw what was spread out on the table, I jolted awake in an instant. Nellie stood in front of it, her arms spread wide and a giant grin on her face. Some kind of freshly baked pastries drenched in chocolate, decorated with whipped cream and sprinkles. And inexplicably, with a candle sticking out of each one. Listen, man, you're 17 right now. When you're my age, you don't get to enjoy these things as much anymore. They hurt, okay? Just eat it. She made it for you. Shut the fuck up, you ungrateful bitch. My mind would have preferred to believe this is a continuation of my nightmare, rather than accept the dizzying, saccharine fog hanging in the living room as reality.
Diabetes? What are you, 40? Give it a try. I promise you'll love it. Here, open up.
I'll eat it. Just please don't try to feed it to me. I do enjoy spending time with her, but my body's going to revolt if we don't start eating a little better. Ever so slowly, I carried a forkful into my mouth that was practically knocked out cold by an onslaught of sugary violence. It was so intense I wanted to munch on a salt lick just to counter the sweetness. After forcing myself through one chocolate death cake, Nellie giddily announced that I was welcome to as many more as I wanted. I politely turned her down.
So what do you want to do today?
Nellie looked up at me with a glimmer in her eyes. It was a Sunday, and we had nothing scheduled for the day. I think we should go outside today.
Yeah, we did spend all day yesterday watching TV. So where do you want to go? The zoo? A theme park? Shopping?
Let's go to the grocery store. We need food for proper meals and some stuff for around the house. And then we should do some cleaning.
You're joking. Why would I want to waste this fabulous week without Mum doing boring lot of housework. And what's wrong with a little ordering pizza every day?
As long as you accept the risk that you might not be able to fit into any of your clothes by the end of the week.
Fine, you win. We're going grocery shopping, but after that we can do something fun, right?
After that, we'll do some homework.
Seriously?
We have school tomorrow, Nelly, and you haven't touched your weekend homework, have you?
Hold on, this is a special occasion. No one's going to get mad if we take a couple days off after your big move.
I will. You need to do your homework, and if you don't, I won't spend any time with you next weekend.
You're such a bully, Mel.
Conversations like these make me feel like I'm dealing with a sister much younger than me, not only 3 years.
Okay, then how about this? You help me with my homework. That'll get me to do it.
I'd be happy to. Now let's get ready to go. I do really like his sweater. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I want that. Give that to me in like a really dark navy or something like that. With our plan finally hammered out, we headed to a nearby grocery store. As we perused the store, I had to fend off Nelly trying to throw every kind of junk food imaginable into the cart. And even when she chose items we did need, she always seemed to select the most expensive variety. I wish she would be more conscientious of the fact that we had a budget to maintain. And when I asked if this is how she always shopped, she said that no, today was a special occasion. Apparently she wanted a taste of a noble's lifestyle, which got a stifled chuckle out of me when she said it. Somehow I don't think actual nobles spend much time in grocery store. And formalities aside, she had essentially lived like nobility her whole life, want for nothing. Every time she said or did something oblivious to the concept of money, it was like a punch to my gut. But I did my best to feign my amusement, just laughing along with her. Why don't you just talk about it, Mel? She's doing her fucking best. Mel in Reincarnation makes me want to punch a wall. When we returned home, we split the chores between the two of us. Nelly, however, didn't seem to have much experience doing work around the house. I had to step in to stop her from putting way too much detergent in the washing machine, and then again from mixing chemicals that would create a noxious gas when combined. I've done that before. On accident. I didn't know that you weren't supposed to use bleach and Lysol wipes in like the same room. It's fine. All in all, it was a minor disaster, and I ended up doing more work if I had handled it all myself. But the excitement was also strangely enjoyable. She did listen attentively when I told her what she was doing wrong. Before her mom left, as she was heading out the door, she leaned in and whispered to me, "I hope Nellie's not too much of a handful. She can be very considerate and a bit of a brat sometimes." And while she was indeed a bit self-absorbed, Nellie was a pleasant ball of joy most of the time. Maybe she was only bratty to her mother. It wasn't hard to imagine Nellie pushing back against every little thing if her mother was constantly in her hair, which was the impression I had of them. That degree of attention was proof of how much she loved her daughter, but a girl Nellie's age might not see him the same way. I was able to make that observation mostly because I didn't have a nagging parent in my life, and the one I had being a guy might have contributed as well, though he was always felt less like a parent and more like a roommate, which I guess was because he usually seemed more concerned about his ex-wife than me. In fact, I frequently got the impression he was just using my presence as a way to convince her to let him see her again. Dad did also make an effort to raise me as best he could, so I wasn't going to accuse him of neglect or anything. But there was still a constant sense that I was not very high on his or anyone's priority list. For Dad, his ex-wife was the most important person in his life. For her, my mom, Nellie was, which left no one to have me at the top of their list. Nellie's face flashed through my mind. Did I think she would be willing to love me most? That was a lot to hope for of a sister who barely knew me. It's because you're not letting her get to know you, you cunt. I'm sorry. I have a lot of feelings about Mel specifically. It drives me up a fucking wall.
I don't get any of it. I'm tired. I need a break. I need sugar to recharge my brain.
It hasn't even been half an hour since we started, Nellie. Did you forget how much sugar you had this morning? Are you saying you need more?
I always have room for sweets. Mom gets upset at me if I eat too much, so I always keep a stash hidden in my room where she can't find it.
Nellie rifled through her desk drawer, pulling out a tin of cookies. I was surprised she didn't put on more weight with how much she snacked. Maybe she was just small because snacking was all she did. Either way, it was my first time in Nellie's room. There was a lot to take in. More stuffed animals that I could count, photos of musicians plastering the walls, stacks of CDs, a stockpile of makeup, books. Oh, hey, that book's being turned into a TV show, isn't it? The girls in my class were really excited about it. Have you already read it?
You bet I have. It's super popular right now. I'd be left out if I didn't know what everyone was talking about.
Oh, wow. Being a girl sounds complicated. So what's it about?
It's about an ensemble cast of teens, everyone with their own problems they're trying to deal with. It's super relatable. And in the newest book, there's this huge bombshell about my favorite girl. It turns out the guy she likes is actually her blood-related...
What's the matter, Nelly?
Oh, nothing. It just got me thinking about it again.
Oh, anyway, it sounds like that girl has it pretty rough, huh? She could probably work through almost anything else, but there's not much she can do but let go of the blood-related.
Is there really nothing they could do? Couldn't they maybe elope to somewhere no one knows them?
That's not a practical solution. It doesn't matter if no one knows them. They're still related, and nothing can change that. Though you can brush a lot of that under the rug in fiction. Just send them off saying they lived happily ever after and end it there. But in the real world, their lives don't stop there. You can't stop a happily ever after over the fundamental problem. If she wants to live a happy, fulfilling life in our modern-day society, her best option is to let go and find someone else. Oh, but it's a story, not real life, so they could definitely get together in that context.
Yeah, you can do that in stories.
I'm probably overthinking it, but does Nelly... I consider myself fairly inept at reading people, but Nelly was so blatant about it, even someone as dense as me could pick up on the signals. No, don't be stupid. I'm her brother, for goodness sakes. She knows that as well as me. Yeah, I'm reading too much into it. I have to be. I could only see Nelly as a sister, nothing more. It was true I had taken a minor interest in her before we probably met, but that was only because, as I told her, I felt as though we'd met somewhere before. Which in retrospect was probably because I subconsciously recognized her as family. I was curious about her because she was my sister. But what about her? Nelly had no memory of me at all. She was still a baby when our parents split up, so she couldn't possibly have recognized me, even unconsciously. It would be harder for her to recategorize me from boy she knows to older brother. Could my moving in to her feel like any other older guy suddenly intruding on her space? Regardless of how it felt, though. We were still siblings. Nothing could sever the blood that bound us. And blood of the covenant's thicker than the water of the wombs. I believe how it goes. I'm just saying. So even if she did, by some impossible chance, have non-sisterly feelings for me now, they would surely fade in time. At worst, it would be nothing more than a fleeting adoration. She would sort through whatever she was feeling soon enough, and that would be the end of that. There are billions of other men in the world, after all. Unfortunately. Regardless, it would probably be smart to keep some distance until that happened. At first, I had thought it best to try and break the ice as quickly as possible, since we'd be family our whole lives, but there was a definite possibility that doing so would only make things worse. Obviously, though, it'd be preferable if I were overthinking the whole thing. Why don't we get back to work, Nelly? I'd like to get to a good stopping point so I can head back to my room and handle my own homework in peace and quiet.
What? Just do it here. I can be quiet for you, promise.
It's nothing you did, don't worry. I just have trouble concentrating when there are other people around. You understand, right?
Yeah, sure, I understand. The work you're doing is much more advanced than anything of mine. I'll stay out of your head today, but we should still have supper together.
Yeah, we can do that. We spent most of the day in our own rooms, a drastic departure from yesterday. I felt kind of bad about lying to Nelly, knowing how excited she was to have me around, but what I'd said about not being able to concentrate with other people around was just an excuse to get some alone time. Yeah? Can you hear the fucking seagull? Uh-huh. Then again, having a little space was probably normal for kids our age. Certainly more so than being attached at the hip. And if Nelly's feelings for me did extend beyond simple familial love, then I wanted to keep a nice, safe distance. That was just something I wasn't equipped to deal with. A question fluttered through my mind. What did I feel about her? She was a sweet girl, there was no denying that. I was glad to have her as my sister. That was true as well. And frankly, I enjoyed the affection, which was why I wanted it to stay squarely in the brother-sister category. The question was that everything? Was there nothing else to my feelings for her? Deep down in my gut, something told me that wasn't the case. That there was some crucial piece missing. Like a vow of some sort. But what could it be? When could I have made a vow to her? At what point in my life was there even room for such significant exchange to have taken place? None, as far as I was aware. The next day, we had school. We took the same bus from home and then split up part-way. But that didn't stop her from texting me like crazy. I must have had to pull my phone out between every single class. Because by the end of the day, I lost track of how many people had asked if I'd gotten a girlfriend. Hopefully that would also settle down over time. I wondered how she would have been if our parents hadn't split up. If we'd grown up together, would she be any less clingy? Would she still hate me like the other girls her age hated her older brothers? I never hated my older brothers. They annoyed me, because they gang up on me sometimes. I never hated my older brothers. Had we just not been together long enough for her to find anything she disliked about me yet? But something told me she wouldn't be any different, even without those 14 years apart. Was I letting the attention get to my head, though? Or was that just what I wanted to believe? That there was someone who would love me unconditionally, and that there would be a pure familial kind of love, with none of the messiness inherent from the romantic kind. Was I just trying to project that fairy tale ideal onto my sister? Because if that was what I was doing, then I really was the worst kind of human scum. It would mean that I wanted her affection, but only if it was safe and utterly detached from the person giving it.
It was a Friday night, almost a week since Mel had moved in. Mum and Mel's dad would be coming back from their vacation tomorrow, meaning this was the last night I would have alone with him. So if possible, I wanted to spend as much of it as I could with him, but he'd be strangely distant these past few days. He wasn't being mean to me or anything, and we still made and ate supper together all week, and it was lots of fun and all, but it wasn't enough. I wanted to spend all day with him, like we did his first day here. Was that asking too much? Was I being too clingy and scared him off? Or was this how siblings were supposed to be? Today, like every other day this week, we had supper together and then spent the rest of the evening isolated in our rooms. Most nights I was able to enjoy myself alone just fine, but emptiness won out tonight. Watching videos on my phone, reading the latest big hit book, listening to my favorite albums. I tried everything, but none of it was any fun. Maybe I'll check up on him, see if he wants to have a snack break, just something nice and casual, to not put any pressure on him. That much should be okay, right? I'd done my best all week to not be overly clingy with him, so I'd pretty much earned this last night together, hadn't I? Oh, Nellie.
How many times do I have to tell you? No!
I hear talking. Maybe he's on the phone with someone, but it's rude to eavesdrop, so...
I'll play along with this little family farce for a year, but no longer. But as soon as I turn 18, I'm out of here, and that's that.
What?
I'm being self-centered, and you think you're not, Dad. I did everything you asked. The least you can do is let me have this. And anyway...
You're not really leaving, are you, Mel? And after we finally got this chance to live together, too. What do you mean, family boss?
Nellie! Wait, hold on, slow down. I have to go, Dad. We can talk about this later. Well, this is awkward. Of all the conversations you could have walked in on. You know, it's impolite to eavesdrop, Nellie.
I No, and I'm sorry, but I heard you shouting and I just couldn't... So anyway, what was that about? Tell me, Mel.
Oh, nothing much, really. You know how at first you weren't exactly thrilled about having your family situation suddenly turned upside down? Well, I was the same.
But you sounded fine with it then. Why didn't you object with me if you weren't happy about it either?
I wasn't against them getting remarried. In fact, I wanted them to. I wasn't about to fight it and risk causing a mess of my plans to move out and go to university next year.
Then why did you call it a farce? You're not making one bit of sense, Mel.
I'm not. I think most people would understand where I'm coming from with a little thought. But I suppose maybe you wouldn't. Considering you grew up with everything you could possibly want.
Why do you sound so bitter? You're not the kind of guy to get worked up like that, Mel.
I'm not, am I? You've known me for exactly a week, and you've seen every side of me now, haven't you? Just like I've seen every side of you, right? Well, I'll have you know I'm actually quite petty and cynical and full of self-loathing. I've just kept it hidden away around you. Okay, edgelord, shut the fuck up. Did you never once stop to consider who was paying the mortgage on this house way too big for the two of you? Did you never wonder who was paying for your clothes and your groceries? Or where your allowance came from? Or how you could afford to go on vacation to Paris? Did it ever occur to you that your mom's job alone wasn't enough to cover all that? Though I guess you don't have to worry about money if you're not struggling for it, huh? Well, all of that was child support from my dad. Okay, valid, but you don't have to be like that. It's not her fault. She didn't ask to be fucking born. Again, Reincarnation Mel makes me want to punch a wall. There's no point in hiding it anymore. The first thing I thought when I stepped into this house was, wow, they sure do have it easy. I was more than a little bitter seeing you and your mom living luxuriously while I only ever had the bare minimum. You could even say it made me angry. That's what was hiding behind every smile. And there's your mom, who's my mom as well, and yet she...
I'm really sorry. I didn't consider any of that. I'm so sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize for anything. You're not to blame for anything, and I realize that. I was just taking out my frustrations on you, and for that I'm sorry. I'd feel even worse if you had to grow up in the same conditions as me. But that's why I want to spend as little time here as I can. Seeing your mom with my dad, it's too much for me.
I get why you're not happy about it, but I still wish you'd stay. You're more dear to me than anyone in the world, Mel. I don't want to have to be away from you.
More than anyone in the world, after only a week together. It sure doesn't take much to earn your top spot, huh?
No, that's not true at all. It's more than that. It's so much more than that.
Your affection flatters me, but it's a fleeting thing, I promise. Before the year's over, you'll be the one asking me to leave. Every day I'm here is a day you can't live as comfortably as before.
I will not. You're more important to me than a fancy lifestyle, my dearest Mel. I don't need nice clothes or sweets or anything else. The only thing I need in my world is you, dearest Mel.
Huh? Dearest Mel, you've never called me that before. It sounds like something you would hear in a historical novel. I believe in the Japanese she's saying Oni-sama. I think. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure where it came from either. I just said it without thinking. Please don't think I'm crazy.
Not crazy, but maybe a little weird. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to laugh at you. As hammy as the name sounds, it's also kind of... I don't know, there's something strangely familiar about it, which I guess makes me weird too. But thanks to all this weirdness, I've managed to cool down. And while I'm being honest with you, Nellie, I kind of wish you had turned out to be unpleasant.
Huh? Unpleasant? Why?
Because then I could push you away until I left and not have to feel guilty about it. See? Like I said, I'm anything but a good guy. Now, this discussion's over. I'm sorry for all the grief I've caused you. How dare you smile right now? How dare you smile right now? We should get some sleep. My dad and your mum will be back tomorrow. They'll want to greet us to greet them with a smile. I'll play along with their family facade for the next year and do my best not to make any waves, so don't worry. Good night, Nelly. Go on, back to your room.
Good night, Mel.
I feel so fucking bad for her, dude.
So it was all just me getting myself excited over nothing. If I'd stopped to think about it, maybe I would have realized we were really well off for a single mom and her daughter. Mel works part-time, and the only reason he had that Paris vacation was by chance. And he's way better at housework than me, too.
And while I'm being honest with you, Nelly, I kind of wish you had turned out to be unpleasant. Because then I could push you away until I left and not have to feel guilty about it. See, like I said, I'm anything but a good guy.
Mel wishes he could hate me, doesn't he? If he could, it would make the next year so much easier for him. But I love him too much to act in a way that would make him not like me. Wait, there is one thing I could do to make him hate me. And also not back down on my love. A hazy feeling lurked deep down. That a very long time ago, I'd been driven to do something unthinkable. Not caring whether or not it made them hate me, whether or not it destroyed everything I had. And what's stopping me from doing the same now? It was doomed from the beginning. Nothing could make us not family. Nothing could stop him from leaving. And trying to keep my love bottled up was only going to make me miserable. He thought we'd only been together for a week, that my feelings for him were fleeting. That couldn't be further from the truth. I'd had my eye on him forever. Maybe this made me sound like I watched too much TV, but I was certain that if we had been together in a previous life, I would have loved him then too. No ifs. We were, and I did. I was positive. It was the only way to explain why I loved him so dearly now. Nothing else made sense. Late that night, I snuck into Mel's room. I could see his chest gently moving up and down as he slept. Which reminded me, early in the week he had been boasting about how deep a sleeper he was. I was kind of jealous. I had trouble sleeping any time I had something on my mind. So tonight was a lost cause no matter how it went. Mel, my Mel, I love you from the bottom of my heart. So please sleep as deeply as you say. I prayed for this dream to last just a little bit longer. Even a few short minutes with Mel as mine would be enough. I would savor every last moment I could get. Because when he woke, the spell would break, and everything would come crashing down.
Huh? Something tickles. Nelly! What do you think you're doing? Did you just...
I did. I kissed you, Mel. Maybe you realized it already. But I love you, Mel. And not as siblings, but in a romantic way.
What? Why would you tell me that after today?
Because I'd rather destroy my relationship with you than pretend to be family. It would be painful enough living with these feelings as normal brother and sister, but you won't even give me that. To you, it's all of us. And that's too much for me to take. Not only can I not love you how I want, I don't even get to have a real sibling relationship with you. So I'm letting it all out now. I love you, Mel.
You realize what you're saying, right? We're blood related, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't kiss your brother on the lips, it's wrong.
You don't have to tell me. I know exactly how wrong what I am doing is. I know that by doing this, we won't even be able to live as a fake family. And even then, I couldn't stop myself. My love isn't fleeting. It's not something I hand out just to anyone. It's so intense I would be willing to die for you, right here and now. That's how much I love you, Mel. How much I've always loved you. So why Why did you have to be my brother? Why am I never allowed to be happy?
Nelly, wait,
All I want from you right now, Mel, is one of two things. Either accept my love, or reject me in a way so cruel I'll never be able to love you again. Please, Mel, one or the other.
I'm sorry. I can't do either.
Somewhere, some part of me knew that was what he would say. He was too kind-hearted to force himself to be cruel to me. And obviously he could never accept my love either. But I could see in his eyes that there was more to his words. A distinct fear he was trying his best to conceal. Or perhaps it was closer to disgust. This was no surprise to me either. He only saw me as his sister, so of course my love would gross him out. Even if he didn't have any attachment to this family itself, I would never be a potential love interest for him. Any normal person would be turned off immediately by an advance from a family member. I knew how he would react before I stepped through the door. That was the goal. I was here to destroy everything. That would be better than keeping him so close, but forever out of reach. I knew what the consequences would be. But knowing and experiencing are two very different things. Seeing his eyes go wide in surprise and his lips contort with disgust was like 1,000 knives to my heart. It hurt. My heart was in agony. Blood seeped from countless gaping wounds. My whole heart spilled forth, and I could do nothing to hold it back. Till tears spilled forth, and I could do nothing to hold them back.
Nelly, come back.
What are you crying for, stupid? You knew how it would go. This is what you were trying to do. This is what you wanted. So why? Why does it hurt so much?
I don't know, maybe because your brother's a fucking clod, Nelly. Hey, Mel. Hey, you and me right now? Hey, listen. Maybe you should have just had a conversation with Nelly about that phone call, you know? Not talk at her, but talk with her, you know? You piece of shit. It all happened so quickly I didn't have time to process it. Cold sweat streamed down my back. One thing was clear, though, even through the heavy fog in my mind. I made a terrible mistake. It was stupid of me to tell her I couldn't pick either option. I should have chosen one or the other. But I still didn't know which was the right answer. I mean, obviously I couldn't accept her love. So did that mean I should have cruelly rejected her instead? Kicked her to the ground and called her every horrible name I could think of? I could never.
You called her disgusting. You pushed her away. You were a terrible brother and person.
Could I really never bring myself to do that? I mean, I was hardly a saint. If she had gone just a bit further, I probably would have lashed back in a really ugly way. The biggest reason I hadn't was because I didn't want to make myself into the bad guy. Once again, I'm only thinking of myself. Damn it, I have to go after Nelly. I tried to get up out of bed, but my legs had turned to jelly. How pathetic. I had nothing to be afraid of, yet here I was, unable to move. Panic slowly welled in my gut, crawling up into my chest, my throat, my skull. What would I even say if I caught up to her? What did I want to tell her? The coward inside me whispered, just let her be. I was only going to be living here for a year anyway. This way I could leave with no attachments, no regrets. This way she could give up on me for good, keep her distance. It would be best for both of us. It would be easiest for both of us. That was what had motivated her as well, wasn't it? Yes, staying put would be easier in the long run. It would mean no more uncomfortable conflicts. And the door, it was so far away. There was no one who could go and bring her back. Not anymore. I didn't even know what I was supposed to say if I did. So why bother? Just... Don't look away! Huh. Someone's voice rang out. No, not someone's. I knew that voice very well, because it was my own. The shout rang strong in my mind, cutting through the thick fog that was my hesitation. The boy who had made a vow shouted with all his might, shoving aside the coward who chose to close his eyes. Don't turn your back, Mel. Stop running from your problems. However mundane your life may be, you will at some point come up against a life-changing decision. And it may seem like an insurmountable wall to you, but no matter how difficult it is to make a choice, turning your back on it is the one choice you must never make. And you swore you never would, that you would be stronger, to the man who offered you redemption. I had no memory of that, any of it. But somewhere deep, deep within me, my soul, if you could call it that, I was crying furiously at myself. You must never forget that vow. Right, that's right. I made a vow to him. I swore it on my very soul. Nellie! I made a mad dash from my room, not even bothering to change into real clothes. My legs were still a trembling mess, my head empty as ever. I had no plan, nothing prepared to say to her. But there was no time to think about that. All I could do was go after her. I had made the wrong decision once, but there was still time to turn back onto the right course. And if I waited any longer, I would miss that chance too. Nellie.
What are you doing, dearest Mel?
Nellie, there's something I need to tell you. I don't know what the right words are. I just have to tell you. I don't know how much I'll even be able to get across, but I want you to know how I feel too. What I think too.
Don't bother, Mel. I know exactly how you feel. You made it perfectly clear how much you can't stand me. You didn't even have to put it into words.
No, that's not it at all, please. At least hear me out before deciding how I feel, Nellie. You laid everything bare for me, so I feel like I have to do the same in return. The truth is, I'm not a pleasant or likable guy. I'm the one who deserves your scorn, not the other way around. Once you learn what I really am, you'll want nothing to do with me. Everything I've done has been for my own sake. I don't smile because I'm a nice person. I do it to avoid conflict, to keep myself from getting hurt.
Don't say that about yourself. You've always been super nice to me. You're wonderful, like a real-life prince.
If I were really a prince, I would have come for you after you right away. In fact, I wouldn't have made you cry like that in the first place. I'm a sad, weak-willed child. I'm constantly concerned about what other people think. I'm always trying to make myself look good. To tell you the truth, it felt really nice seeing how much you liked me, but it also terrified me because siblings aren't allowed to share that kind of affection in our society. So I wanted to suppress that affection to a level that was safe for me, but without losing it entirely. I didn't think 1 second about what that meant for you. I was focused entirely on myself. I was so scared to face it head on, to risk fighting with you over it, that it took this long to bring myself to go after you.
If you were so scared to, why did you come for me?
Because I want to grow out of being so weak-willed. No one can go through life without conflict. It's just not possible. I mean, look at us. We're at a huge fork in the road ourselves. And I realized that if I didn't correct my mistake now, it would have consequences that last the rest of our lives. That I would lose you again. I don't know how to explain it, but something tells me this isn't the first time I've been at this crossroads. Nellie, I know my words probably don't mean much to you, but I want you to know that I do care deeply about you. Oh well, I found it in myself to be able to care about you now. You've made it very, very painfully clear how much you care about me, and I have no reason to doubt your sincerity. It means a lot to me, but my love isn't romantic like yours. It's familial.
Even though you said the family thing was a farce?
Yes, I called it that, but that's not how I actually feel. By telling myself it was all a fraud, I could get away with just playing a role and not worrying about whether anyone actually loved me. I was so afraid of getting hurt, of butting heads, that I refused to think of it as real at all. See how much of a weasel I am? I, of all people, don't deserve to be called a prince. I'm constantly thinking about how I can avoid things, how I can make my life as easy and stress-free as possible. But I want to work on fixing that. All the while, despite being the weasel I am, I want to ask you to remain as family. I want us to feel comfortable talking to each other about anything and everything. I want us to be equals, like a brother and sister should be. Is that an option, Nellie? Is that something we could strive for instead? Is it out of the question for us to just be supportive siblings? I can't accept your love, and I won't ever be able to either. But I can't bring myself to kick you to the curb either. I know it's still not either of the choices you gave me, but at least I think I'm prepared to not run from your feelings anymore. I promise to never disdain you for your love again. I'll never think it's gross or unpleasant again. But I also want you to understand that the way I care about you is not the way you care about me. I want you to be conscious of my feelings as well. You're my sister, the only one I have, and I want to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, to overcome whatever trials we may face together as siblings. Is that an acceptable compromise? I do still want to have you in my life. I realize how self-indulgent I'm being, and I'm sorry. I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too, asking you to stay in my life with one hand and pushing your feelings aside with the other.
Yes, you are. You're only thinking about yourself again, dearest Mel. But still, it warms my heart to hear you say that.
Nellie.
I've never felt wanted by family before. And even if my love is doomed to wither away, being able to be with you with my feelings out in the open is like a huge weight off my shoulders. How funny is that? It's actually a big relief. I'm no less sad about it, of course. I'm just even more happy to know you understand how I feel now. I never once expected you'd take it so well. I was sure my life would be over the moment you found out. It was almost like I already knew that was what would happen. But that doesn't make any sense since this is my first time. But now, it feels like I finally managed to face you head on, and my feelings for you, after messing up again and again.
Yeah, I get the same feeling, Nellie.
I'll stop pushing my perfect brother and prince ideals onto you, and just let you be yourself, my Let me try that again. Mel. I'll stop pretending you're flawless and be there for you, to support you, as your sister.
And I, as inattentive and self-centered as I can be, will do the same for you, as your brother.
Yeah, we'll be able to make it work, I'm positive. I'll even do my best to be able to see you as my brother. It'll probably take some time, but I'm sure I can do it. So please, could you maybe reconsider leaving too? Let's all be a family together, for real.
I will. I'll try to work things out with Mom. And I want to talk things through with my dad too.
Great!
Now that my nerves have relaxed a bit, my knees feel like they're going to give out. As melodramatic as it sounds, I had to muster up a lot of courage to come see you.
I promise you it took me way more courage than you, Mel.
You've got me there. By the way, I think maybe it's time we headed back inside. We both came out in the heat at the moment, I know, but you're not really dressed to be outside, Nellie.
Oh, no, I completely forgot. No one saw us, did they?
I certainly hope not, at least. But we did make a pretty big scene, so there's a chance the neighbors might comment on it. Let's just pray no one could make anything out. We said out. Fortunately, no one had overheard our conversation, but rumors of the scene we had made that night spread throughout the neighborhood almost immediately. People took the intensity of our clash as a sign of how close we were, which was far preferable to them knowing what we were fighting about, and certainly a worthwhile price to pay for not losing Nellie forever. A little humiliation would at least fade with time. Nellie and I spent the following day, the last day of our parents' vacation, together cooking, cleaning, watching TV. It was a lot like our first day together here, and when our parents returned, they were visibly surprised at how close we appeared to be. Though Mum was most taken aback at the fact that Nellie hadn't actually done chores. Of course, she still acted as though Nellie was her only child, and I just tagged along when she remarried Dad. It was enough to make me question if I really was her biological son. As much as yesterday's conversation had helped me to have a more positive outlook, obviously it wasn't going to magically fix all of our family problems. It was slightly discouraging being treated as a second-class citizen, but knowing I at least had Nellie on my side, I was able to feel like I actually belonged somewhere for once. So I wanted to return the favor by being genuine with her, and moving past the empty kindness I had shown before. My goal was to stop running from every little bump in the road, which I hoped would stop my problems from piling up into something insurmountable. We could work through things together now, the two of us, so we wouldn't make mistakes we'd regret ever again. So I wouldn't have to lose her again.
I think that covers the souvenirs. I'm really sorry for leaving you two behind.
Don't fret it. We kept ourselves plenty entertained back here.
Oh? Well, still, let's make the next vacation a family vacation. Let us know if you have anywhere you want to go, okay? We'll do whatever we can to make it happen.
Let me think about it. Oh, I know. I want to go to Paris again, with Nellie. And thus began a new chapter in our lives. I haven't had any more strange dreams, and I was never able to remember who I had made that vow to, although my gut tells me that not remembering is for the best. The nagging feeling in the back of my mind cleared up entirely. Nellie had apparently been experiencing the same inexplicable sensation, and like magic, hers vanished too as soon as she had faced up to her problems with me. Maybe there is something more between us after all. Something in the distant past. Something significant enough that it etched itself into our souls, if souls even exist. Though it's not like we have any way of knowing. And honestly, looking forward is much more important than looking back. We've taken the first step toward becoming close siblings, but we still have plenty of work to keep it that way. After all, this is a new chapter in our lives, still just that, a chapter, and the next one could just as easily turn down a dark path if we aren't careful. And at least on that note, I feel like I'm speaking from experience, though of what I'll never know. Another day, another wide smile on her face. She's strong-willed, a little spoiled, has an insatiable appetite for attention, and seems just a little more grown-up than before. She's my one and only sister, Nellie, and we're standing now shoulder to shoulder, brother and sister, facing toward the future. Okay, that's sweet. I don't remember it being that sweet at the end. I think because I was just so taken aback with everything. I was like so mad at Mel. Because I wasn't sure he was gonna fix it. Hey girl! Oh, okay, now we're on to chapter 2. The voice for Pauline in the Japanese is the voice for Kofuku in Noragami. And that just makes my little heart warm, but it also is really weird. So I'm kind of glad I'm not doing the official voices right now. It's like, it was such a shock. I was like, oh, Kofuku. Read Noragami, everybody.
Oh, crap. Yawning on the job again. I'm glad I have work at all, but jeez, could this place be any more dead? Who knows how long I can even keep this gig? Maybe I should start looking for something new. Hey, a customer. Good afternoon. Hey, how's it going, Maria? It's just her. Hey, your best friend came to see you at work. Don't be such a Debbie Downer. Yeah, no, you're not my best friend. Now that hurts, Maria. We've known each other since we were kids, and we even went on vacation overseas together. You don't get much better friends than that. If that's all it takes, then I have a bunch of best friends, but sure, whatever. You're my best friend, so you'll order lots of food and leave me a big fat tip, right? You're my best friend, so you'll give me something on the house, right? Get your butt out of here. You don't order anything, so you don't get to call yourself my best friend. I ain't got no room for stingy rich girls. I never said I wouldn't order anything. Just because my dad's got a cushy job doesn't mean I'm rich.
I love Pauline's outfit, by the way. Can we just, like, admire her? It's so cute. I really love this skirt. I would wear that. I don't wear skirts a lot, but I like that one.
Like hell it doesn't. Your parents covered half our trip in March, and they're paying for you to study abroad. Here I am, slaving away after losing my last job, and you're here strutting around like royalty on an all-expense-paid study abroad. It's an injustice, I tell you. A damn injustice. I'm sorry, I guess. You pity only pisses me off more. Then what do you want from me? I'll let you off with a cup of coffee for 100 euros. Hey, Maria, I know how much you like to tell me I'm so naive and innocent, but even I know a cup of coffee only costs around 10 euros. Someone who only goes to the fanciest shops around, huh?
I love you, Pauline.
Here's your coffee and a ham sandwich for take out, right? I forgot that ham sandwiches are back.
Not the fucking ham sandwiches. Please tell me there's like lettuce or cheese on that shit.
Yes, please. It's lovely outside, so I'm going to have lunch in the park. Ah, God, how I wish I could spend my days off frolicking about in the sun and flowers. Care to join me? You said the owner doesn't come doesn't come check on you very often, right? So he'll never know if you skipped out for an hour or so. You do realize being closed during lunch hours defeats the whole purpose of a cafe, right? But I'm the only one who ever comes during lunch hours. Silencio! Not another word. I don't have time for you and your stupid logic, girl. You're not wrong. This place hardly even functions as a cafe most of the time. Which is exactly why I can't risk dragging it down anymore by closing during lunch hours. You take your work pretty seriously for someone who looks like such a hooligan. You don't have to get so worked up about it. It's not even your cafe, Maria. I'm not working myself up because I want to. I just have a bit of debt to the owner. He was a customer at your last job, right? Yep. When I was in that fashion boutique. He wasn't even a regular or anything, but he went to crazy lengths to help me out when he heard I was in a rough spot. It would have taken way longer for me to get started here if he hadn't handled a bunch of the paperwork and shit for me. So I can't bring myself to half-ass the job, even if the owner himself just opened the place for kicks. I've always thought it was strange how he wouldn't put any money into updating the decor, even though he's got plenty to spare. All I know is he told me not to touch any of it. Probably keeps a bunch of memorabilia here or something. It's a shame, too, because you probably get lots of new customers if you just modernize the interior. Make it into a cute, quiet little tucked-away cafe. You're probably right. Maybe I'll suggest it once I get to know him a little better. It's not exactly the most fulfilling job as it is. You should! And let me know when you do. I'll even lend a hand if the cafe gets too busy to handle yourself. You're always there when I need someone to talk to, so to show my appreciation, I'll help you out with anything. You'll do anything now, will you? How about working as a waitress and wearing a uniform of my choosing? Oh, I've always wanted to try being a waitress, and I'm sure whatever uniform you come up with will be lovely.
Oh, Maria. Still by, I see. Though she's wearing the thumb ring, which is an indicator if that's still a thing. I don't know anymore. It used to be. I think I mentioned that last time. Anyway.
Do you have any ideas yet? A bunny suit. A what now? You'll be in top cut so low your tits are falling out of the thing, but we'll be rolling in so much friggin' dough. your mind out of the gutter. That's a different kind of restaurant. I'm just teasing. About 10% anyway. Ugh, don't even joke about that. I would never wear an outfit that revealing in public. That means you will in private then? I bet you get that bunny suit real dirty when you wear it. I've never worn one in my life! Best friends, right? So you can tell me anything. Give me all the steamy deets. I swear, I've never worn one.
Seem to have arrived late and in the middle of something.
Speak of the devil, it's the man who dresses his girl in a bunny suit himself. For the last time, I've never worn a bunny suit in my life!
Hi, Yukimasa. Welcome to whatever this is.
Thanks to Maria, I was beginning to develop a headache. But that wouldn't stop me from enjoying my date with Yukimasa.
Who is an engineer now, apparently.
We had met about a month and a half earlier, around the end of April, not long after I moved to Paris for my immersive language study program. Maria was already living here by that point, and one evening she took me out to a bar. Prior to coming to Paris, Maria had worked at a fashion boutique in Milan, but things hadn't worked out there, and she had to leave her job. Then, well, the rest had happened as she described it. On the other hand, I'd just fallen in love with Paris while on vacation, so I decided to move here to get to know it even better. Everything was so vibrant and exciting and shiny and wonderful. I'd never felt so immediately moved by anything in my life. Maria probably thought I was here just to play around. She definitely made a few comments to that effect, things like, what kind of starry-eyed idiot signs up for a language program after a sightseeing trip? You're in way over your head, girl. But no matter what she said, I did have more of a reason than that. She probably wouldn't believe me if I told her, but ever since the trip, I'd had this weird nagging sensation in the back of my mind, telling me I needed to go back to Paris, that I had some kind of work to do there. Maybe it was all my imagination, and I really did just want to spend more time in the city. But if that did turn out to be it, so what? I wasn't hurting anyone by wanting to live in an area I really loved. It seemed like a perfectly fine reason to me. I didn't exactly have anything I wanted to accomplish while in France, but live a pleasant life was as honorable a goal as any, I thought. Noble ambitions are great and all, if that's your thing, but it's by no means everyone's cup of tea. There were plenty of people like me who only wanted a nice, happy life. But then again, maybe being able to think like that at all was a blessing in itself. I'd grown up in a comfortably well-off family, so I never had to worry about money. But maybe someone less fortunate than me wouldn't have been able to even consider that same life. Putting it into perspective like that made me realize how sheltered I was. Which reminded me that once, so long ago, I could hardly say when, Maria told me that my naivete would bite me in the butt one day. I thought I was putting in a good effort to be better about that, though. But anyway, back to how I met Yukimasa.
How did you meet him?
There's so many people. They're all speaking French. No shit, Sherlock. We're in France. Yeah, we went to bars together on our trip here, so what the hell are you freaking out about now? We only went to places popular with tourists then, and everyone was speaking English, not French. And when we had to use French, you handled everything, Maria, so I never actually had to use the language. But this time I'll have to make my order in French by myself. Of course I'm going to get nervous. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point of an immersive language study program. You have to use the language or you'll never get any better at it.
Indeed. Content-based learning.
You really should be going out on your own and talking to people without accompaniment. I know, but still. I envy you, Maria. You can speak well enough to work here. Come on, girl. You've been studying the language, too. I know you can do it if you just go out there and try. Still. Oh, for God's sake, enough twiddling your thumbs in front of the door. In you go. I'm going. This is bad. Where did all those people from around Maria come from? I wasn't in the ladies' room that long. Are they hitting on her? I
I know she can brush a few guys off without breaking a sweat, but there's no way I'm getting through them. I guess I'll watch from nearby and wait for my chance. Excuse me, ma'am. May I? If this is some lame pickup attempt, I'm not interested. Oh crap, I wasn't thinking and used English, not French. But he doesn't look like he's from around here either, so there's a chance that he understood. Maybe. I was hoping to pass so I could get to the restroom. Oh! I'm so sorry! Not at all. I want to crawl into a hole and die. That made me sound all stuck up and full of myself. He seemed pretty upset too. He didn't even smile once. He's ridiculously imposing and kind of terrifying too. This place is a bust. We definitely shouldn't come back again. Maria's still off talking to strangers. Excuse me, ma'am. May I? Oh! What is it this time? I was hoping to return to my seat, so if you could please let me pass. Oh no! I'm still standing in the way! I'm so sorry! I swear I'll never do it again! Huh? Did I just hear him laugh? And was it me he was laughing at? My apologies. I didn't mean to laugh at you. You were just so cute I couldn't help myself. Cute? Me? Just to be clear, I'm not trying to flirt with you. But if you continue standing there, I expect others will try talking to you as well. Are you here alone? Oh no, I came with another girl, but she's kind of preoccupied. I see. Then would you like to find a seat and talk for a bit? Huh? You mean like me and you? Needless to say, you're free to say no if you'd rather not. No, I mean, it's not that I don't want to. That's a relief. There are a couple of open seats at the counter. Why don't we sit there and I buy you a drink? Yeah, sure. He said he wasn't flirting with me, but finally got rid of them. God, I don't remember this place being so friggin' busy. I guess it is a Friday night, though. I fucking hate how guys assume you're free game if you're alone. You've got to be at least a Middle Eastern oil tycoon if you want to talk to me. Also, what's taking Pauline so long? Did she get herself... She's with the guy? Oh, you dumbass. You just go along with the guy when he starts making moves? It's time for an intervention before things go tits up. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the Japanese in the background. そういう気分じゃないよ。そうなんだ。みたいな。Sorry. They're just saying random shit. Hold on. She kind of looks like she's enjoying herself. Definitely not like she's gritting her teeth and waiting for it to be over. Oh, well. Look at you. Guess I'll leave those two alone for a bit. She's not a teenager. She can handle herself. Plus, talking to guys should help her with the language. Wait just a damn second. She's not even speaking French! Sorry, the Japanese in the backgrounds are really distracting me. そうですね。はい。嘘マジであんまり You don't really come that often, but it's so distracting. I'm really sorry because I can understand it all. And, my brain's like, eavesdrop, cat eavesdrop. Why come here on a language study if you're not gonna study? Oh, fuck it, not even worth my time. I'll just drink by myself. Hey, beer me up, barkeep. Oh, Maria. Oh, so you haven't been to France very long then? Amusingly enough, I was only transferred here a month ago myself. Oh, neat! Speaking of, a month ago was when Maria and I came to Paris on vacation, which is when I started thinking about moving here. So wait, you were saying you decided on everything and moved to a foreign country in the span of a month? Yep. I mean, yes. My mom was none too... not terribly pleased with me either. But once I set my mind on something, I usually make a beeline for it. No need to be so tense. Please, make yourself more comfortable. If you say so, sure. I'll try. You know, when you first bumped into me, I was kind of scared.
But it turns out you're not so scary at all. You actually seem really sweet and respectable.
Sweet and respectable, you say? I'm flattered. I don't see myself as either.
You don't? Why not?
Oh, I don't know. Just a feeling. This guy.
Oh, I see. My dad did tell me the Japanese were a reserved and humble people.
I don't know how much that description applies to me, but I am surprised you identified me as Japanese. Since I arrived here, most people have assumed I was Chinese. Not that I particularly mind. Asians are a minority here, and it can be difficult for Westerners to visually distinguish between the different East Asian ethnicities without sufficient exposure. Which is why I'm so impressed.
My father's Japanese, actually, which is probably why I could.
Wow, it really is a small world, huh? Have you ever been to Japan?
I haven't, unfortunately, but I absolutely want to someday. Maybe you could teach me Japanese to prepare.
I would be happy to. Though, shouldn't learning French be your first priority?
Oh, right, I totally forgot. My friend Maria actually brought me here tonight so I could get practice talking to people in French. But I ended up using English the whole time. Everyone I know is so skilled I look even more useless than I already am in comparison.
You seem incredibly talented in my eyes. You speak your native tongue and English, and once you have French down, that will make you trilingual. Imagine the work opportunities being fluent in 3 languages offers. Meanwhile, I have no confidence in my ability to get a handle on French.
Huh? Really? I assumed you were a French pro since you work here and all.
Oh, hardly. We all speak English in the office, and I only go to restaurants that serve in English as well. Learning one foreign language was almost the death of me. I don't want to imagine how bad a second would be. It's because English is terrible, Yukimasa. And also, English education in Japan is garbage, but I'm not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it in the stream, Cat. We're not tangenting.
Oh, wow. So what do you do for work?
I'm a systems engineer. I primarily develop tools for use within the company.
That sounds like difficult work, and not at all what I expected. You're well built, so I was guessing something more physical.
I enjoy working out as well. I frequent the gym and also study martial arts.
Wow, impressive! I can admire that. If a bad guy shows up, you'll have no problem taking them down.
I suppose.
Did I say something? Or was I just imagining the hesitation in his voice? Maybe he's working out for some other reason? I can't think of any other reason he might, though. Maybe he's getting into street fights. Nah, he would never.
In any event, if you need any help with manual labor, feel free to give me a call. I can handle just about anything. And seeing as bad guys like to stay away from men built like me, I don't get to use these muscles for much else. So I'd be thrilled if I could put them to use helping a nice young woman like you. Oh, my apologies. We only just met and here I am acting like we're friends. I may as well be flirting with you.
No, don't apologize. It was a very nice thing of you to say. Yeah, that was definitely my imagination earlier. He's too much of a sweetheart and a gentleman to be involved in anything unscrupulous. So, assuming that wasn't you just trying to sweet talk me, is it alright if I actually call you if I need something? I just moved here, so I'm drowning in boxes. I'm also going to need to get furniture, and that's a huge pain to do alone. And of course I'll reward you. I can buy you dinner somewhere or make something at my place.
How could I ever turn you down? Don't worry about repaying me. Meeting you is all the reward I need.
Okay, you have a lot of practice doing this, don't you? How many girls have you wooed over with what? I can't even talk, I'm so flustered.
Huh? I don't have practice wooing anyone. Why do you sound so tense all of a sudden?
Because I'm on guard now.
Telling me that defeats the purpose, I feel. I promise you, as difficult as it is to believe, it's rare for me to be so comfortable speaking with a woman at all. This is certainly far from an everyday experience for me. Also, well, to be perfectly honest, this isn't the first time we've crossed paths.
Huh? We have? What?
More specifically, I've seen you before. You said you were in Paris about a month ago on vacation, right? Well, a month ago, I had a meeting with my boss at a cafe, and I caught sight of you walking past through the window. It left quite an impression, so I remember that moment very well.
Are you sure that was me? You only got a glimpse. It could have been anyone. Oh no! Did I do something embarrassing and that's why it left an impression?
No, not at all. You were just eating something as you walked. Maybe a sandwich? Nothing particularly out of the ordinary.
I was what? Oh, no. You forget about that right this instant. It never happened. Hear me?
Huh? Why? I don't see any reason you would...
You caught me at my most vulnerable, eating a sandwich alone. I'm so humiliated.
If you say so. Still, I don't want to forget that moment. You seemed so happy, and your joy was infectious.
Just so you know, I'm not a glutton.
I never said you were. Anyway, back to what I was saying. When I saw you then, I felt as though that also wasn't our first time crossing paths. Which is why, when I saw you today, I was determined to talk to you. I only got a glimpse of you the first time, so I'm glad I was able to hear your voice this time.
Oh, I see.
I know, it sounds like something out of a fairy tale, and probably every pickup artist guide out there too. I apologize if I've scared you or made you uncomfortable.
No, don't be. I'm just flustered, is all. Actually, as strange as this sounds, I kind of want to believe it's true, too. I don't want it to turn out to be just some cheesy pickup line. I mean, how romantic would that be? That we have some sort of deeper connection from before we know. It could be fate that brought us together again. You never know. Starting with that encounter, Yukimasa and I bonded very quickly. We exchanged phone numbers. I called him to help with moving stuff. I went to his place to hang out, and in short order we went from acquaintances to friends to a couple. I'd never been in a relationship before, and I certainly never expected my first boyfriend to be a Japanese man I met while studying abroad in France. And when I told Maria we had begun dating, He's definitely pulling a fast one on you, girl. Either that or your head's still stuck in the goddamn clouds and you're not seeing clearly. You barely even know the guy. Jesus! Don't come crying to me when it goes south. I swear, watching you is going to take 10 years off my life. You can barely keep your feet off the ground. And then she gave me a big heavy sigh, and that was that. Sometimes I felt like Maria was my mother. I could understand why she was concerned, but I was confident I could tell the difference between a good guy and a dangerous one. Yukimasa was always such a sweetheart and a gentleman. I was positive I had nothing to be worried about.
It's fine. By the way, violence again in this chapter. It's a little bit of blood and violence. Nothing like before. Nothing so terrible as before. Don't worry. But there's gonna be a little bit of it. Because Yukimasa. He's our little meow meow. He's still a little meow meow.
Sorry to use you as a meeting place, Maria. And thanks for the ham sandwich. Don't sweat it. I give you shit sometimes, but I really am bored out of my mind here. Having someone to talk to helps pass the time. Well, that's a relief. I'll bring some people from my language program sometime then. Have to help get business in here.
The two of you are such good friends, I almost feel bad about taking Pauline away from you today, Maria.
We'll have to go somewhere together another time, all three of us. I'm sure we'd have a great time. Sure. I'll think about it. That's the most insincere "I'll think about it" I've ever heard.
Well, can you blame her? I wouldn't be terribly excited about being invited to accompany a friend on a date either.
I mean, just as a fun, casual thing, though. More like I don't want to spend any more time around him than necessary. But I also don't want to say or do anything to upset Pauline, no matter how much he rubs me the wrong way. Every word that comes out of his mouth feels empty, fake, calculated. But that's just what my gut tells me. I don't have anything to back it up. And it's not like Pauline would hear me out either way. Once she puts her trust in someone, she's blind to anything that challenges that. Part of me wants to just let this run its course and see if that teaches her a lesson, but I'm afraid he'll end up doing a lot worse than just betraying her trust. Is there something on your mind, Maria? You look very deep in thought. Oh, no, it's just nothing. I'm just thinking about how much of a drag being a third wheel would be. don't think I've forgotten how you ditched me for him at that bar last month. I didn't ditch you. And anyway, you were busy talking to other guys at the time. And then after that, you hit it off with that guy at the counter. And the one with wavy hair, was it? Excuse me? On what planet did that look like we were hitting it off? The only thing I want to hit off is his nasty mop of a head, ideally straight into a fucking grain thresher. His hair wasn't that messy, I don't think. Forget on me, though. Can't keep your man waiting forever. Go on, get out of here. Okay. Hey, just a sec. Not you, Pauline. Monsieur.
I don't mind at all if you call me by my name rather than the monsieur. But yes, how can I help you?
You heard Pauline, and it's your head I'll be ripping off, you hear?
You wound me. Do I look like the kind of man who would hurt her?
Just covering my bases. Very sorry if I offended you.
Not at all. Pauline has been blessed with very loving friends. You can rest easy. Pauline is in good hands with me. You have my word.
Alright, I'll hold you to that too. Hey, what's the holdup? What are you two talking about?
Small.
Nothing important, Pauline.
Oh, sorry. Oh, nothing important, Pauline. Then let's get going then, shall we?
Yeah! Later, Maria! Your rest easy holds as much weight as a wet paper towel. I just wish I could put a finger on what about him makes me so uncomfortable. Hopefully it's just my imagination.
God, can I maybe not spill water all over myself? Rest in peace, blanket. I'm so sorry I spilled water all over you.
It's beautiful out today. There's something about lovely weather like this that makes a lunch taste all the better.
It certainly does, Pauline.
What should we do when we're done here? Was there anywhere you wanted to go, Yukimasa?
I want to go wherever you want to go. I love being with you, no matter where that is.
That's what you always say. Is there nowhere at all? We don't have to limit ourselves to Paris either. As long as it's close enough for a day trip, we can go anywhere. So tell me, where do you want to go?
I'm not sure I can come up with something put on the spot like this.
How about we go see a wrestling match then?
Wrestling? I didn't realize you were a fan.
I'm not. I've never watched wrestling in my life. I've never really been able to deal with rough stuff like that. But you like working out and physical activities and stuff, right? So I thought maybe you'd be into wrestling too.
Oh, I see. You were trying to choose something I would enjoy. I don't have any particular interest in watching sports, though.
No? Oh, that's a shame. Well, in that case, I don't know. What should we do? I'm all out of ideas.
There's nothing wrong with just relaxing here in the park. We don't have to be doing something for me to enjoy being with you. In fact, I'd say I kind of like this peaceful time with you the most. That is, if you don't mind the boredom.
No, of course not. There's nothing boring about spending time with you, Yukimasa, no matter what or where it is. Then today's schedule is decided. Lazing about in the park. Hey, Yukimasa, do you have any hopes or dreams for your future?
I can't say anything comes to mind immediately. At least, not until I can be certain work won't interfere with it. What about you?
I sure do. Do you promise you won't tease me for it?
I would never.
What I want most is to spend a nice, quiet life with you. I don't need anything extravagant. Just an ordinary life. Slowly growing older, having 3, maybe 4 children. We'd never fight, and eventually, before I knew it, I'd be an old lady. Thinking, it was an uneventful life, but it was the best I could have asked for. That's the life I...
Pauline?
What? Oh, sorry. I kind of spaced out there for a second. I get the strangest feeling that I've said something like that before.
Is that so? I'm not the first man you've used that on?
first guy I've ever dated, Yukimasa. It must just be deja vu or something. Wait, do you think I'm lying? That I have been with other guys before?
Oh no, I would never accuse you of being dishonest. It just struck me as unusual. Because I feel as though I've heard those words before as well.
Oh. I know this might make me sound like a little girl with her head in the clouds, but do you believe in reincarnation? If somehow it really is real, then I suspect we may have known each other in a past life. Wouldn't that just be the most wonderful thing?
No. No, it would not, Pauline. I'm sorry.
Imagine that! A bond so strong it transcends even death. It would make us soulmates, literally. How romantic. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting too weird, aren't I? You have to be crazy to believe in reincarnation and fate in this day and age. But I still think it's a nice thought.
That it is, Pauline. I cannot imagine anything more beautiful than us being bound by fate.
Yukimasa.
If by some chance reincarnation is real, and our paths have crossed in previous lives as well, then the universe has a twisted sense of humor. Soulmates, or anything but. I'm the ball and chain that drags your soul down to damnation. You would have to be cursed to be stuck with me for so long. There's no other explanation.
Maybe that was too lazy of a day. You even managed to sneak a nap in there. Today we're both sloths.
There isn't much daylight left. Let's get something for dinner and head home, shall we?
Ooh, I have an idea. Can we go to the grocery store instead? I want to make dinner for you tonight.
Now that sounds like a wonderful idea.
We're back. Thanks for carrying the bags.
It's my pleasure. I feel like this is a lot of groceries, though. More than you need to make one meal.
Yeah, kind of is. I realized about halfway through, but couldn't stop. There's just so much stuff I want to try, I can't help but throw it all in the cart.
It's fine. Whatever we don't use can go in the freezer. So what are you making? You still haven't told me.
Well, not telling. Anyway, I'm borrowing your kitchen. You just wait at the table and relax. I don't need any help.
All right then, if you insist. Pauline's never made me anything for me before, and frankly I have trouble imagining her spending much time in the kitchen. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine, unless something goes horribly wrong.
It's shooting fire!
Are you okay, Pauline?
Well, there were some minor mishaps, but dinner is served.
Indeed, there were, for certain definitions of minor, I suppose.
I didn't burn your place down, so all's well that ends well. Now dig in before it gets cold.
Before I begin, may I ask what it is you made?
Huh? You can't tell? I wanted to make something Japanesey for you, so I did a beef and potato stew, miso soup, and white rice.
I see. I thought it was porridge, chili, and a brown mystery goo.
It doesn't look very appetizing, no, but I promise it tastes good. I tried it myself.
I trust you. I trust you. Well, here I go. Rest in pieces, Yukimasa.
So, what do you think?
It's not bad. Thank you, Pauline. Thank goodness I didn't have to lie to her about that. It is a bit on the strong side and will probably raise my blood pressure, though. Out of curiosity, what sauce did you use in the stew?
I just followed the recipe and used Worcestershire sauce.
Pauline! For a traditional beef and potato stew, you're supposed to use soy sauce. Do you have that here?
Huh? Really? We do, but it only said sauce, so the thought never crossed my mind.
It still tastes quite good, though. It's just more Western flavor instead of Eastern.
I was trying to remind you of your home in Japan. I'll do better next time, so please give me another chance.
Of course. I'm looking forward to it.
I want to do everything I can to please you, Yukimasa.
Phrasing.
So if there's anything you want, please don't hesitate to ask.
Phrasing. Tell me, Pauline, how are you?
How am I what?
Never mind. Forget about it. How are you able to love me as much as you do? That's not even a fair question. She's so taken with me because I'm pretending to be exactly the kind of man she wants to be with most.
It's gotten late, huh? So I was thinking tonight we could...
Yes, you're right. We should call it a night. I'll take you home.
Is it okay if I stay the night? I mean, it's been 2 months since we started dating, but we still haven't stayed the night together. So,
I'll take you home, Pauline.
Do you not want me to stay the night, Yukimasa?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. I would love to have you. But I'm sorry, I have some other business to attend to this evening, so we'll have to make arrangements for another time.
Okay, yeah, that's alright. Wouldn't want to get in the way of your plans.
Thank you.
I can make it the rest of the way from here. Thanks for walking with me, Yukimasa.
I'll walk you all the way. It's late. Better to be safe than sorry.
You're such a worrywart. It's barely even 9 and we're in the city. I'll be just fine.
More people doesn't always mean safer. But alright. Just try to stick to large, well-lit roads. Don't go down any dark alleys, understood? There's been an uptick in sightings of shady-looking gangs prowling about lately.
I'll be fine. See you again next weekend. I'll call and text.
See you. Good night and be safe, Pauline.
Night, you too. I have other business to attend to, so we'll have to make arrangements for another time. Yukimasa didn't seem to realize it, but he chased me out with almost the exact same line on several other occasions. I'd even asked him what business he had, but he would never give me specifics. Just said it wasn't important. At first, I assumed he was being a gentleman and trying not to rush into things, or that he genuinely did have something else to take care of. And it wasn't like I thought he was lying now, but there was only so many times I could take being turned down the same way. Before I started thinking maybe he didn't like me at all. Or maybe he had something to hide. Everyone has skeletons in their closet, things they don't want people to find out about. I wasn't going to ask him to spill everything to earn my trust. I wanted to be reasonable as much as I could. I didn't want to do anything to make him uncomfortable. I wasn't going to chew him out for not telling me every little thing, and I certainly had no interest in getting into a fight with him over it. The less conflict in a relationship, the better. I was sure all he needed was more time. He would let me stay over when we were a little closer. We'd only been dating for 2 months after all. It was too soon to get worried. Everything was going to be fine. I repeated that to myself several times and then decided to head home. But for some reason, my legs refused to move. You haven't changed one bit. You won't even give someone the time of day if they're saying anything that contradicts someone you've decided you trust. Something Maria had said to me a long time ago floated up into my mind. Maria always did have trust issues, but she had gone too far that time, accusing him of doing something terrible, so I'd snap back at her, something I rarely did. Why had that, of all memories, come back to me now, though. I had to trust him, or what was the point? Sure, he could be eerily kind, and he was hard to read from time to time. But if I didn't believe in him, who would? Wait, I'm confused. Maria never said that to me, did she? I know she's given me other warnings. But I can't think of a single instance in which she told me you haven't changed one bit. My head hurts. The image in my mind of that moment wasn't of the cafe where Maria worked, but a small room in a cottage I had no memory of. It was so vague, I couldn't make out much more than that, though. Yet despite not being able to place the memory, I had the distinct feeling it was something very dear to me. But it didn't end there.
You are a woman who is capable of making decisions for herself. I know you are. Yes, you've placed your complete faith in one man. But that hasn't stopped you from considering what you should do with your own life. You were never short-sighted.
Next came a man's voice I had no recollection of. Who could it have been? And why did it sound like he knew me? What was going on? I was gripped with a sensation I didn't have the words for. There was a man's voice in my head. I didn't know him, but he seemed to know me. To most people, that would probably be unsettling. But for reasons I couldn't explain, the sound of his voice was more reassuring. It felt like a light in the darkness, guiding me away from the path to destruction. Only not my present self, but a me far in the past. Something told me his words were still relevant to me now, though. I'm sorry, Yukimasa. I don't want to dig up your secrets. I just want to be able to trust you. I want to know you better, so that I can love you better.
Oh dear. Oh boy. Did we miss little Meow Meow? I did. Everyone has skeletons in their closet. Things they'd rather people not find out about. But most people's secrets were, in my eyes, trifling matters. Rarely anything more than, oh no, I'm too ashamed to tell anyone. And never anything that would utterly ruin them, were it to get out. From a young age, I was conscious of a violent impulse that prowled deep within, but I had no concept of what it truly was yet. It wasn't until shortly after I entered elementary school that I found a clear understanding of these feelings. I was watching the news one day when, in the middle of the reporter and staff were murdered on live television. The killer seemed to want to be seen, because he deliberately positioned himself such that his face would be visible on camera as he stabbed the reporter again and again. Screams and shouts filled the air. Someone yelled, "Stop the camera," and the screen went black. It lasted a matter of seconds, perhaps 10 at most. But still, those images remained fresh in my mind, playing back in an endless loop. Everyone around me acted as though it was some terrible thing never to be spoken of, and perhaps that was the most reasonable response. But it was utterly inexplicable to me at the time. And that was when I first realized that the feelings I had were not feelings others shared with me. I was enamored with that footage, the sounds of people screaming, the sight of them writhing in pain, the hope draining from their eyes. It brought me indescribable joy, ecstasy. So it made no sense to me why it inspired fear in others, why they refused to speak of it. I could not imagine not wanting to talk about something so electrifying. But I was the only one who felt that way, who yearned for the sight of more death. Fortunately, or perhaps unfortunately, I had been gifted with a talent for deception. I knew how society expected me to act, and I played the part to a T, all while nursing a thirst for blood within. I put on a friendly smile while interacting with people, but beneath it I was always wondering, what face would they make as they died? What kind of scream would they regale me with? How would they beg me for their life? I was struck with an urge to shove the person next to me in front of an oncoming train whenever I waited at a platform. I fantasized about violent accidents happening whenever I stood at a crosswalk. Wherever I saw a blade, I wanted to eviscerate passers-by with it. Whenever I saw a woman with a slender neck, I yearned to strangle the life out of her. As I got older, the urges only grew more powerful, making even day-to-day life a challenge. Fantasy stopped being enough to quench my thirst. If I wasn't careful, I might find myself with my hands actually around someone's neck. More. I needed more than this. I wanted to experience it for myself. I wanted to spill blood with my own hands. I wanted to feel the life fade from someone's body. I wanted to kill. When my hunger reached its peak, I wondered why I had thought it was necessary to restrain myself at all. Was it because I was afraid of getting caught? Because I didn't want to face society's judging eyes? Because I didn't want to cause trouble for my family? None of that was sufficient to hold my thirst at bay. I even began to entertain the thought of letting myself get caught. Going on a killing spree, tasting blood to my heart's content, then sentenced to death and freed from temptation at the apex of my life. It seemed like a sound enough plan. The question was, why had I hesitated to go through with it for so long? Well, no more hesitating. No more waiting. I was going to kill. It didn't matter who. Anyone's blood would suffice, so long as it would quench this unending thirst. But when I stepped out into public, having at last embraced my murderous desires, I heard a voice whisper into my ear. Remember the vow you made. Vow? I did? To who? It would be to whom, actually. I know English isn't your first language, so I'm sorry for correcting you, but it's to whom.
And when?
Sorry.
Where? What on earth was the voice talking about? Utter nonsense, I told myself, and tried to banish it from my mind. But no matter what I did, it kept coming back. And always right as I readied myself to follow through with my urges at that. The sound of the voice paralyzed me, kept my feet bolted to the ground. And worst of all, it seemed to be my own voice.
And actually, strange as it sounds, I kind of want to believe it's true too. I don't want it to turn out to be just some cheesy pickup line. I mean, how romantic would that be? That we have some sort of deeper connection from before we know? It could be fate that brought us together again. You never know.
Pauline, this secret I'm keeping from you is a great and terrible one, and this barely suppressed hunger will eventually break through to the surface. I have no right to be at your side, to be blessed by that beautiful smile.
What I want most is to spend a nice, quiet life with you. I don't need anything extravagant. Just an ordinary life, slowly growing older, having 3, maybe 4 children. We'd never fight, and eventually, before I knew it, I'd be an old lady. Thinking, it was an uneventful life, but it was the best I could have asked for. That's the life
I know in my mind what the best thing I can do for you is, but so many of my actions are not driven by reason. The sight of her smiling face calms the creature within. Her presence suppresses my savage desires, allowing me to act like a normal man. She is my tether, the chains that keep me fixed to the ground, and she's the only one who can do that for me. But even she can't wholly quell the bloodlust that seethes within. And so now, 2 separate cravings dwell together in my heart. One is the yearning to surrender myself to my desires, to spread pain and death and horrible suffering. The other is a longing to relinquish myself to the peaceful life she so desires, and to share a quiet and uneventful life with her. Each one pulls at me in completely opposite directions. They're so fundamentally different and utterly incompatible.
I mean, it's been 2 months since we started dating, but we still haven't stayed the night together. So, do you not want me to stay the night, Yukimasa?
Finding her brought me relief, taught me what it was like to live without temptation. But now, I find myself dreaming of killing her.
My desire is transforming from I want to kill someone, anyone, to I want to murder her specifically. And this is after swearing I would never lay a hand on her. The sight of Pauline sleeping, helpless to protect herself, unfailingly brings with it a hunger to squeeze the life out of her. And that's why I cannot allow myself to spend the night with her, because when I step past that final line of defense, I will cease to be a man.
Nice sweatsuit.
Oh boy. It's time. Every city has an underbelly, no matter how clean it appears on the surface. You can try to put up appearances until the end of time, but hiding your seedy population doesn't get rid of them. And that was the very first thing I looked into when I moved here. Not because I wanted to feel safe in my new home, but the exact opposite. Being the capital of France and a large, populous city, the streets of Paris were naturally kept impeccably clean. It was safe enough to walk alone at night, and you were unlikely to encounter any trouble, so long as you exercised the bare minimum of caution. So, I needed information about the city. Enough to guess where crimes were likely to take place, and enough to get there before the police could.
Haven't heard this music in a little bit.
Oh boy. I'm being followed. From the footsteps, it sounds like two men. This is probably good enough. I came to a stop at a comfortable distance down a poorly lit alley. Turning back, the two young men stood blocking my path. They seemed to be in their late teens, still children as far as I was concerned, but hardened in a way boys their age shouldn't be. They were both fairly tall, around my height, kept their hands hidden in their jackets. Presumably, they were hiding weapons of some sort, and their mouths were contorted unnaturally into half-slack smiles. Even in the poor light, I could make out numerous teeth that were cracked or black with rot. Well, well, I'm impressed you haven't been swept up by the police yet with mouths like that, you filthy addicts.
Yukimasa, come on now. Drugs don't care about people. It's not their fault. Oh wow, there's some slurs in this. I forgot. I'm really sorry. This doesn't reflect the creators or me. I don't like these. It's bad. Don't say these things. Oh, look. Slanty Eyes is trying to talk to us. How about you learn the fucking language first? Right back at you, bitch. I'm surprised you still got her head on her shoulders. Your head on your shoulders, walking around all alone this time of night. You picked the wrong place to go for a midnight stroll. Or what, you get your dumb ass lost? We'd be happy to show you the way back. Just $1,000 an hour. Why, thank you for such a generous offer. Is that all you have to say? What? We need to spell everything. These voices are too similar. I gotta make one of them higher pitched. What? We need to spell everything out for you? Hand over your goddamn money, you dumb fuck. Just fork her over and no one has to get hurt. We ain't monsters. The boys, guffawing like buffoons, or baboons, either, pulled their hands from their jacket pockets. As I had suspected, they were armed. The blades had visible bulk to them, double-edged knives. I was surprised they had anything remotely decent on them. They weren't the kind of knives you could buy at a corner store. Maybe they'd gotten them at a hunting shop, or from a friend. Part of me wished they had been guns instead. That would have made this more exciting. But I knew that was asking too much of this city. I would have to go somewhere more dangerous for that. The United States. I'm sorry. Which wasn't to say that the glimmer of their knives didn't excite me plenty. A hot shiver ran up my spine. Ecstasy. A deep gratification surged up within me. I could just imagine how incredible it would feel to tear through someone's flesh with those knives. Why don't you say something, huh? You fucking blind or what? If you don't want to hand it over, we'll just kill you and take it ourselves. You think you can kill me with only a knife? I'd love to see you try. The fuck you laughing at, asshole? Hey, maybe we should back off. Something ain't right about him.
Like hell, you chicken shit. I ain't letting him get away with talking that kind of shit. Fuck no. Well, what are you waiting for? I'm standing right here. Go on. Kill me. Or did you think I would bend over and hand you my wallet simply because you started waving a knife around? You make a mockery of me. If you're not prepared to use the knife to take another man's life, then I suggest you put it back in the kitchen. It's perhaps a bit excessive for everyday use, but at least you can peel fruit with it. Fine idea, wouldn't you say? I've had enough of your bullshit, Slanty. You're fucking dead! The hoodlum made a dash for me, and a beat later his companion followed suit. I didn't waste a second either. With my eyes fixated on them, I took a step backwards, lifted my leg, and made as if I were to kick them. But instead I threw my foot into a pile of garbage, launching it into the air. Shards of a glass bottle flew toward the first one's face. On its own, it was an ineffectual attack. He could shield himself, and anything that hit was unlikely to cause significant harm. But the split-second distraction it created was what I wanted. I closed the distance between us, and pivoted around to his side. With one hand, I grabbed him by his outstretched arm, the other his collar, and then I swept his feet out from under him. As tall as he was, his drug-atrophied frame put up little resistance, doing a clean 180 in the air before face-planting in the asphalt. A look of horror spread across the other man's face as he continued his charge. He had lost a great deal of momentum, however, and the arm holding the knife had gone slightly slack. So rather than a retreat, I stepped toward him, and then I bent myself backwards to avoid the blade at the last second. He screeched to a halt, then made as if he was going to turn around. But before he could, I planted my elbow in the nape of his neck. The man let out a pathetic yelp, like a frog being run over by a car, then crumbled to the ground. As soon as he hit the ground, I slammed my foot into his wrist, sending the knife spinning off into the darkness. And then I did the same to his partner.
Fuck! What the hell are you, man? Okay, you win. We'll leave you alone. So let us go.
Absolutely pathetic. That fight was so dull I'm about to fall asleep here. Was that honestly the best you could manage? The man tried to get up, so I stomped on his back. Apparently he was more than just physically slow. You will leave me alone? You must understand, my boy. Yes, you're the ones who attacked me. But I'm the one who baited you into it. Why on earth would I let you off with just a few bruises? Oh, no, no, no. You are my prey.
The hell's this guy's deal? I knew something was wrong with it.
The other man made an attempt to escape, so I planted my foot in his face. But it seemed I put too much force into it. He crashed into the wall and simply slid limply to the ground. Hey now, you can't make any sudden movements or my instincts will kick in. I knocked him unconscious. What a shame. The man's nose was shattered, his face covered in blood, and his eyes rolled back. Gravity was the only force left acting on his body. For a second I was afraid I had killed him, but I could see his chest rising and falling, and his fingers twitching slightly. That was fine then. I had no intention of killing either of them, after all. All I wanted was to see a little blood. From people nobody would mind seeing a little beaten up. Your friend's down, so that leaves you to entertain me. I grabbed the man by the back of the head, paying no heed to his squirming.
Fucking fuck!
And slammed his face into the asphalt. Thick blood dribbled from his nose. There wasn't much yet, so it was probably my imagination. But I felt as though I was enveloped in its sweet coppery aroma. Endorphins flooded my brain, drowning out my reason. But a small fragment of that reason, that humanity, managed to stay above the surface to admonish me. Do not kill him. Do not break your vow. Do not become a murderer. You chose the path of imperfection and conflict, of humanity. Yeah, you don't have to remind me. I'm not going to kill anyone. I just need to not cross that line, right? Taking care to not knock him out entirely, I pounded the man's face into the asphalt again and again and again. Listen,
I don't want to get into crazy street fights over who's the strongest guy around. And I don't want to experience the thrill of participating in a fight club. Please, let me go. All I want is to endlessly brutalize helpless insects like you. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
There he is. There's the meow meow.
You're going to kill me. You're too much a waste of human flesh for anyone to care, even if you come crawling to them battered and bloody.
Again, I don't agree with this. Alright, listen, just so you guys know.
Screams echoed through the dimly lit alleyway. Of course, the biggest waste of oxygen here is me. Help! Someone help me! Help? You are the idiot who chose to jump me this far out of the way. No one's around to hear you scream. Glancing down, I noticed my hand dripping with blood. It had probably splattered onto my jacket as well. I'm going to want to wipe myself down before I go home, I thought as I continued to pummel the man. The scent of blood calmed my raging spirit. The sound of screams and the taste of despair filled my ravenous soul. When his shouts and cries began to falter, I let go of the man's head. Bloody foam oozed from his mouth. His whole body twitched on the ground. I rose to my feet, kicking the man over so I could see his face. Not that it was much of a face anymore. I pressed my heel into his chest, causing a spattering of blood to blow out of his mouth. Me, please. Don't kill me. The once ferocious man was now begging like a small child to be spared. What, surrendering already? How underwhelming. I haven't nearly had my fill yet. Oh, here's an idea. I wonder what I could do with those knives you pulled on me. How about cutting off your fingers one by one until there's none left? Doesn't that sound like so much fun? Please, no more. I'm so sorry. I have no interest in your apologies. In fact, I almost want to thank you for the evening's entertainment. The one thing I could really ask for is you not giving in so soon. I can't. You're going to kill me. Well, that's terribly unfortunate. And so you know, I've never actually killed anyone. I take great pains to avoid crossing that particular line. Honestly, I don't feel like going all the way would really change much after a beating so severe. But there's a voice inside me that won't let me do that. I used to think it was whatever tiny bit of a conscience I had, but I've come to realize that that isn't the case. Tell me, do you have any idea what it is? I have no idea. Help. Don't kill me, please. Of course you wouldn't know. You think I'm some kind of psychopath, don't you? I don't. I promise. So please, have mercy. You want mercy? Then beg me for it. Plead like the sad little animal you are. Please have mercy. I'll do anything. I'll give you all the money I have. I'm so sorry. I'm begging you, spare me. As you wish. I'm done here. Get yourself to a hospital before you die. And don't you tell anyone there about me. Well, I doubt they'd give it much stock beyond a scuffle between lowlives. I don't want to take any unnecessary risks. The man gave me several rapid nods, then began to crawl away, whimpering. He seemed like he was trying to push himself to his feet, but not having any luck. But I didn't give a damn about what happened to him next. What I needed to do was wipe the blood off me, get home, and sleep, and watch to see if any dead bodies showed up on the news over the next few days. I didn't even give the beaten and battered pair a second glance. They were the dregs of humanity, So they were fair game. Of course, as I had told the one man, I was the lowest scum of all. I pulverized men to quench my thirst, but I never killed them. I kept my vow. I wasn't so far gone as to think anything other than murder was okay, though. I knew perfectly well that what I was doing was reprehensible. And still, in spite of that, I yearned for something more.
Okay, you little fucking meow meow. Oh boy, Pauline. Honey, this is not it. This ain't it. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'll go ahead and save over. No biggie. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, that's a good stopping point for now. Next time, we're gonna finish door 2? Chains. That's what this is called. We'll finish Chains. We'll get started on the 3rd door. I'm using air quotes. Door. Ow. We'll probably finish this in like the next 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, maybe 3, depending on how emotional I get during the next door. But yeah, thanks for joining. I would have done this longer for today, but Mel and Nellie's voices, woo! Well, Nellie's voice especially. And Maria. God, that's a lot. It's a lot. Sunday. Day before Halloween. I'm doing a fun Halloween stream. If you're watching this, you'd like to be there or watch the VOD, feel free. It's gonna be a really fun time. And then next week, Wednesday, same time, same place, be back here with Pauline making a big mistake. Oh boy. And then back to Grandia 2 after that on Sundays. Sunday. Yeah. Oh boy, I hope you're all enjoying Reincarnation. It's a good time. Mel made me so angry at first. And he still does every time, but like the first time I played this, I was like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna fucking throw him. He does do better. He's still bad. He at least, I think the thing about Reincarnation Mel is that he at least has the awareness that he's a terrible person. He doesn't run from that fact quite as much as like he does in the first door and then the past. Nellie like lives up to it. She's like, listen, I know this is gonna be a fucking nightmare. I'm gonna do it. I'm like, I can at least respect that, even though you are also making a terrible mistake. So the disaster siblings, I do love them. And this disaster couple right here, and then after that, who knows? The next door is gonna be really fun. Yeah, so anyway, please enjoy. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of people you care about. Be good. Be good. The world needs more goodness. And make sure if you eat a ham sandwich that you put something else on it besides fucking cheese. Or besides just the ham. Put cheese and like lettuce, some shit. Put some spinach on it, for fuck's sake. Eat some vegetables. Alright, bye.